Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I am going to start off this reading by shuffling the traditional tarot cards and just seeing what comes through. Now, I will say right away that I've been picking up on a little bit of a heavy energy passing through, and I'm feeling that for some listening, this is around the concept of energetic misalignment within personal relationships, meaning there might be a sense of grief or heaviness coming up around people who have been disconnected from your life for one reason or another in the physical. Now, I say for one reason or another physically, but energetically, there's always some sort of energetic or vibrational misalignment when we are detached or disconnected from certain people in the physical world. Now, for some of you listening, this energy might be coming up because you might be resonating with the reading that I posted yesterday about having someone who ran away as soon as they became addicted to your energy. So in this collective reading, I might be speaking to a lot of individuals that actually came from that reading, and that might be part of why these messages are coming up here. So let's go ahead and shuffle to get started here. So what can I channel for the beautiful souls listening in? By the way, of course, if you do want to manifest a more specific message from the reading, I do recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as these are forms of energetic transference that do tend to allow me to pick up more easily on your energy and channel more specifically for you and your situation. Okay, so the first card I have here is the Sun in the upright position. And I am getting a message around someone connected to you going through an awakening. Now, I'm picking up something interesting. I'm getting the word interference. Someone's awakening is actually interfering with your energy in some sense. What I mean by that is someone here is going through such a powerful awakening that it's shifting their energy. And because the two of you are connected energetically in some way on a soul level, this person shifting their energy is actually interfering with you in some sense, even if there is a separation or distance in the physical world with this person. For some reason, I'm also just feeling guided to speak a little bit about the difference between connections that are soul-based and connections that are very 3D based. Now, what we need to understand is we can build an energetic connection over the course of time through physical interactions, conversations, communication, etc., with someone that we don't have a soul connection with. And these connections aren't necessarily negative or toxic. They can be positive, they can be interesting, fun, mutually beneficial, but there are major differences between even these positive, energetically based connections in the 3D versus soul connections. It's kind of interesting because just like a 3D based connection that is maintaining a positive flow back and forth of energy can be positive, On the other side of that, even a soul-based connection, meaning someone that we have a deep spiritual history with, that we've lived past lives with, that we have this natural synergy with, sometimes a soul-based connection can actually be very toxic or can manifest itself as seemingly a negative 3D relationship with that person if things get out of sorts energetically. Meaning if we or the other person is blocking the connection in some way, this can actually create this kind of energy interference in the soul connection that can cause it to manifest in a way that feels toxic or that feels negative. Now, of course, that's not to say that potential still isn't there for that connection to change, because at their core, soul-based connections have the potential for a tremendous amount of harmony and alignment and really deep fulfillment. It's just kind of an ironic fact here that a connection that is highly spiritual can actually manifest as toxic or negative in some cases. And on the other side of that, we can experience very light on the surface energy-based connections, meaning there's a lot of positive energy flowing back and forth because of our physical communication and interactions with someone that we don't necessarily have a soul connection with or a spiritual connection with, but that can still manifest itself very positive for a time. But there is an issue being presented here. So I'm not sure why my guides want me to get into this, but I feel this is really relevant for what someone is going through. So let's dive a little deeper into this. And we're also most likely going to be pulling some cards related to maybe some either 3D based or soul based connections that you might be experiencing. So the problem presented here, first of all, for some reason, my guides want me to say that 3D based connections can often be thought of kind of similar to your co-working relationships. You know, when you're working at a particular job and you befriend some of the people at work, it's like you have your work friends, and very often, not always, sometimes you can develop really deep, lasting connections at the workplace, but very often these co-working relationships tend to be relationships of circumstance and that serve a purpose. And they typically have a kind of expiration date, because very often we find that when we're only really bonding over things happening in the workplace, we are forming some kind of friendship because we're seeing each other every single day. We're part of each other's environment. Those connections can be very positive. They can be fun, supportive, mutually beneficial. But at the end of the day, they are typically relationships of circumstance, and they come with a time limit. So often when we switch jobs, let's say we get promoted to some other position that takes us to a different location, many of those co-working relationships tend to fall away naturally, even amicably. There's no hard feelings. They just had a time limit. Well, my guides are telling me that positive energy-based connections that are not soul-based, meaning connections where there's a lot of positive communication, interaction. They can be fun, supportive, exciting, but there's not really a soul component or a spiritual component. These are often the equivalent to co-working relationships, where these individuals typically are in our lives in a particular way, form, and circumstance. We could say, if we were going to label it from a quantum perspective, we might say that we connect positively with certain individuals on certain timelines, because of course you could think of a timeline kind of like a job that you're in the sense that it comes with its own set of obligations, connections, circumstances, a kind of flow, a rhythm to it, just like every workplace has its own flow, rhythm, community, and timelines are very much the same way. But within that timeline, there are many relationships attached to that aren't necessarily soul-based, but that can be really supportive, mutually beneficial, fun, exciting, happy, and all of those things. But when there's no spiritual or soul component, the problem is we aren't able to travel with these connections. So just like when you move to that next job, you might lose a lot of those surface level co-working relationships. When you move to the next timeline, you're going to inevitably lose or disconnect from connections that were purely based on that timeline, meaning they could only connect with you from that very specific frequency in that very specific set of circumstances and for that duration of time. Okay, so let's layer onto this the fact that, as we've talked about on this channel, most people who are living unconsciously are extremely tied to and locked in to a very specific timeline. And they rarely, if ever, shift onto a different timeline, because to do so would require what we spiritually call ego death, but it's the process of unchaining yourself, all of those aspects of this kind of identity that you've constructed around that specific frequency and that specific timeline that you're now shifting out of. If someone living unconsciously does drastically unlink themselves from a timeline and go through major life changes and shift onto a higher timeline, often it's only about once in a lifetime, and people collectively will refer to it as a midlife crisis. So often it doesn't have to be happening at any age, because they're now having what people call quarter life crises. But the point is, it never had anything to do with age. It's about someone waking up one day, even in their unconscious state, and realizing, I have been attaching myself to this timeline, and there is unlimited potential out there for me that I haven't had the opportunity to explore. And it's them unlinking themselves from all of that so that they can experience a brand new timeline that's often leveling them up in some way. But of course, people who are living completely unconsciously on the same timeline their entire lives will judge the experience of someone shifting onto a higher timeline very suddenly, and they'll even label it as some kind of crisis. But that's probably a whole separate video. Regardless, you are a timeline shifter. So you aren't even one of those that goes through life unconsciously and then has one timeline shift. You are someone who is actually constantly shifting timelines. In fact, you might feel as though you almost feel like a different person from day to day. You might notice that your relationships tend to change drastically from one day to the next, or even that you kind of bounce between different friendships, connections, etc., that seem to be connecting with you on these different timelines that you are bouncing between energetically, in a sense. You might even notice or feel as though your literal physical appearance changes very regularly. So you might feel like every picture or video of you looks different, or when you look in the mirror every day, you feel different. Some days you might feel much more confident, beautiful, attractive. Other days you may feel very much the opposite. But the thing is, this isn't just some form of body dysmorphia in this case. This is you literally experiencing shifts in your own appearance, in the way you are appearing, interacting on a daily or very regular basis, because you are often shifting through timelines. You also might even notice personality shifts within yourself, within your persona, where some days you feel extremely social, outgoing. You're wanting to talk to strangers, to people on the street. Other days you might feel very much in a hermit mode, very reserved. Again, we're not talking about something going on mentally. Of course, I'm not a mental health professional, so always consult with a mental health professional with any concerns that you might have. But I'm really getting that this isn't something necessarily disruptive or negative to your life experience. It's just that you go through these shifts and changes every single day, or if not every day, very frequently, because you are constantly traveling between timelines. You have completely detached yourself from any one singular timeline trajectory. Now, what this means for your relationships is you often have this feeling of people coming in really, really strong and then suddenly dropping out of your life. And it's almost like you're gaslighting yourself sometimes, like, was this connection not as deep as I thought it was? That's not the case. It's not that the connection wasn't deep. It's that you have shifted onto a different timeline where that connection itself might actually have a different past, because the timeline trajectories you are shifting onto, they not only carry with them a different future, but a different literal past energetically as well. So for example, you might find that you reconnect with an old friend, and this may be someone that you remember being extremely close to at one point in time. Not just remember, but you have literal concrete memories of this person and you having this really deep friendship. You might see them again years later when you haven't spoken for a while, or try to reconnect with them, and it's almost like they are an entirely different person, or don't seem to be reflecting back to you the depth of the friendship that you shared with them, because on that specific timeline, you may not have been as close with that person as you were on a timeline that you came from. I know that this is all really high level quantum type stuff here, but I hope that for someone listening, this helps to clear up why some of your connections, relationships, friendships can be so strange or so confusing. You also might notice this sensation of people popping in and out of your reality, people that you seem to sometimes connect with extremely deeply, and then it's almost like they fall off the face of the map for a couple days, weeks, months, even years, and then suddenly pop back into your life as though no time had passed. This probably has become a normal occurrence for you on some level. Now, let's talk about your soul-based connections, because we've talked a lot about how energy-based connections that don't have a soul or spiritual component in your life are not going to most likely be reliable, consistent connections, inevitably, because they are not based in something deeper. But you do seem to have, and we referred to this in a prior reading, as a network of souls that you are spiritually connected to, that you have soul connections with, that you tend to meet or run into or connect with on, I want to say in some cases, it's a regular basis. For others of you, this might actually feel more few and far between. It's a little bit split in the collective is what I'm getting, but I'm going to be channeling more into what you need to know. Okay, so circling all the way back. Okay, so the guides were giving us context for now this person that I'm sensing interferes at times. Okay, so this is a very high level soulmate or a twin flame. Take it however it connects, but this is someone that you have extremely deep soul history with. And I'm hearing something about a warrior. So in a past life, possibly, this person or you were in the military or a warrior. Maybe in this life, someone's in the military. That might be relevant, but I'm getting that this is someone who in a past life may have literally been your protector or defender, or vice versa. There was someone protecting the other, but because of a difference in status socially, there was an inability for the two to actually fully merge and come together. I'm channeling into someone's Akashic records here, someone's past life. Of course, this might only resonate with a few people here, but the reason I'm channeling into that specific past life is because it relates to how you and this person connect now, where this is someone who on a spiritual level is your protector and defender. So you will notice that this person comes back into your life or comes back into your energy whenever you are making choices or decisions that would disalign you or kind of veer you off track from your highest vibrational timeline. You might even do this unconsciously. So for example, if you are locking yourself into a connection or a relationship that isn't really for your highest good or is going to send you down a trajectory that is a bit lower vibrational, at least for a time, you might notice that this person comes to you in a dream, that they come back into your life. Now, for some of you, maybe this is someone who has already passed. This could be a lover who transitioned. This could be, for example, an ancestor. It doesn't have to be romantic, but I get the sense of this person being very protective and very defensive of you, and spiritually speaking. And I do feel you have either known this person when they were still on this earth plane, or for those of you who know this person and they're still living, you had some kind of meaningful enough connection with them in the past that even if the two of you don't frequently communicate now, the bond is solidified. You have this conscious bond to this person in some way. And so this is someone who will, in a sense, swoop back into your consciousness in one way or another. I'm hearing whatever way they can, whether that's reaching out to you randomly, coming back into your thoughts, whether that's appearing to you in a dream. And I'm getting the word warning. It's almost like this person comes back to warn you that you're making choices or decisions or locking yourself into a connection that could be potentially veering you off of your highest vibrational timeline. So again, this person is like your spiritual warrior or spiritual protector here. The ironic thing is about this person will do this unconsciously, even if in the physical realm, they have no idea of the choices you're making or the circumstances around you or the decisions you're making. This is a very unconscious, automatic process, however it works here. Now, I do want to pull a few more cards here. Yeah, the strategy in the upright position. This is a soul contract between the two of you. Now, I know that this is going to resonate with people in different ways, but if this is someone that is still alive and there's a romantic element here, then this is someone who I just keep hearing the words wait for me, or there's something about waiting. So if there's a romantic element, it may be that this person has certain things they feel tied up with at the moment in their current physical life, but it's almost like their soul is saying, wait for me. Like, I'm working on bettering myself. I'm working on being ready. Now, of course, you are the conscious creator of your life, so I'm never advising you to wait around for anyone or anything. You have to make the choices that are in alignment for your highest good, whatever that is. And of course, your intuition is always the compass guiding you correctly. It's interesting that I just saw the number 2323 because this is a mirrored number. So there's something about the two of you mirroring each other, but it's interesting because when I looked up this number, the message I'm getting is it can be a sign of a period of accelerated personal growth and change, letting go of old patterns and reaching their full potential. So that might be exactly what this particular person is doing. They might be in this process of accelerating their own growth, letting go of old patterns. Again, I see this powerful awakening taking place here, especially if this person is still living and there was some kind of romantic connection here. I'm seeing feathers, so you might get feathers as a sign of when this person is contemplating you or with you spiritually in some way. So I want to know more about, okay, for those who are dealing with a romantic individual and this person is still on the earth plane. Now, for some of you, this could be an energy that connects with multiple different souls who are part of your network. So for example, this might be connecting for you as both an ancestor who helps you from the ethereal realm, and it could also be connecting with you as a past lover in this earth plane. So take it however it's connecting. Okay, so the energy of exposure is around this person. First of all, this is someone who is seeing things, people, organizations being exposed in their own life. And this is sitting on the throat chakra. So I'm getting that they are wanting to communicate this exposure that they've been noticing around them with you, but they're not really sure how to talk about it or how to bring it up. They've had some kind of powerful breakthrough here. And again, I'm getting the sense of them wanting to discuss this with you, wanting to talk this out with you. I'm hearing the words idea person. Maybe this is someone who sees you as an idea person or themselves that way, or they like discussing ideas with you. They're done fighting. They're done fighting the feelings that they've had for you. They've decided, they've resigned themselves to waiting for this connection, to it's almost like this, I just keep getting the symbolism of a knight. So maybe this person was a knight in a past life who served you or protected you in some way. But I'm also going to get the symbolism from a knight in general. Interesting. It can also represent an anchor, this person seeing you as their anchor. Or are you seeing them as your anchor? I guess it could go either way, or maybe vice versa. I'm hearing undying loyalty, like pledging. I don't know why that concept of pledging, this person spiritually and emotionally within themselves, pledging their loyalty to you. It's almost like they've decided that you are their soulmate. That might be how they refer to it, even if this is a twin flame connection, that they don't want anyone but you. I'm hearing anything else would just be a waste of time. And I'm hearing about something slipping through the cracks, or a slip of the tongue. So if you do communicate with this person, there might be something specific that they accidentally said without meaning to say, or something that they let on when the two of you communicated that has been rolling around in your mind, that just comes up in your mind from time to time. This is because there's something they let slip through when you were communicating or having a conversation. Again, if you've been communicating physically, where they feel that they said too much, but they actually said something that was very telling to you. And I feel whatever they said indicated their love for you, or their desire to only be with you, or their desire for you to wait for them. I know this is going to get so specific, so this might just be for a few people, but for someone listening, in your communication with this person, they accidentally said something about how they were waiting for you, or how they wanted you to wait for them. And they may have even said that literally without meaning to say it, or played it off as a joke. So whatever they said, they may have pretended to be joking about it, but this was actually serious. And this is someone who, it's almost like this hopeless love here in their mind, where they might not even be sure if you are ever going to want to be with them or connected to them, but they've, again, like pledged their undying allegiance to you. For some reason, that wording just keeps specifically coming through here. What else can I channel? We have the Indecision card. I'm hearing I want you, but I don't have the ability to move towards you yet. So it's almost like, again, that energy of preparation, that wait for me kind of energy, because what this person is fixated on is the happy family, some kind of long-term harmonious connection with you. Or again, if this is an ancestor or someone who is working with you from beyond this realm, then they are pledging their allegiance to you spiritually by being your protector, and specifically protecting you on this path that is your highest vibrational timeline, because you carry a very strong purpose in this world. with the yin yang card, of course, coming out here right at the end of this first reading, this strongly indicates that this definitely could be a twin flame connection. This is my number one twin flame card in the deck. So typically this does represent either twin flames or at the very least a very, very strong and deep soulmate connection. So take that however it connects for you. But with Door to Romance reverse, this is someone who, if this is romantic and they're still in this life, they have really shut the door on any other potential romantic options, because I'm hearing there's no one I want but you. That's coming through so strongly here. And in their mind, they are, again, like your protector, your defender, but also preparing themselves preparing themselves for something here that they want to do or communicate, or a way that they're planning to move forward. This is a very strategic and forward-thinking kind of energy as well. So in the extended version of the reading on Patreon, I will be going a lot deeper into this person's mind and heart. So we'll be channeling what else they might potentially be thinking and feeling about you at this time, what they want to communicate or how they want to move forward here. And I'll also be taking a look at your energy and picking up any threads of energy that could be connected to your aura. So anyone or anything that might be sending you a lot of energy at this time. And of course, we'll be channeling any other messages that want to come through on Patreon as well. So if you feel guided to it, the link to the extended Patreon reading is in the pinned comment and description box underneath the video. But for now, I am going to be reading from the Rumi Oracle. And the card I pulled here is Beyond the Threshold of Fear. So it might be that this person is being pushed to overcome some of their own fears here. But the guidebook also says push and pull, one step forward and a half step back. Maybe that's how your connection has felt with this person. So it has been for so long, and yet you have endured. This oracle comes with spiritual guidance for you. You have broken through a barrier, a self-imposed barrier of fear that held you back from steps you are now taking or just about to take. The power has been claimed by your heart. There is no darkness or light for you anymore, just life, living free and clear. Trust in your vision. Without the murky filter of fear, it is sharp and clear. You can see what is meant for you, what is true for you, what is beckoning you forward now. So that feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. Thank you so much to all of you who are here tuned in today. I am sending you all huge amounts of love and light energy. Of course, if you resonate with the reading, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more energy updates, inspiration, and information. And of course, if you want to continue on with me to the extended Patreon reading, the link to do so is under the video. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing remainder of your day and weekend, and I will connect with you here again in Monday's reading.